26. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Andre the Farmer. We are waiting for Gray to join us here. Let's see if we have him down there. We have him. Let's see if we can get him in there. This thing is sometimes kind of slow. There we go. Great.
There we go. Hey, how's it going, my brother?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. I missed you guys last week, but it looks like y'all had a good time with Kayla last week, right?
We did. And now we're one short again. We're handicapped again today. We don't have Derek. But
yeah, we don't have the fairest in the land with us, so I don't know if people are gonna tune in, man. Without Derek here.
Is that what he's called?
That's what I'm calling my brother. I want to lift him up,
So what's going on, man? How was your weekend?
Oh man, it's been great. I just got back not too long ago from Maine, working with my friends out at Epic Gardening. So got back from that. Been spending some family time because my son, my 6-year-old man, he missed me the most. So I've been trying to get in as much daddy points as I possibly can.
I get it.
What about you?
Man, I just got back from Mexico yesterday. It was wonderful, as usual. I think I've completed I don't want to call it a food forest, but I've completed my selection of fruit trees in Mexico now. So I got a sugar apple, a sapodilla, a soursop, a mango, 3 different coconuts, a citrus tree, an avocado, and a cacao tree, and a guava.
Wow, that's quite the setup, dude. I like that.
I'll tell you what, I don't have much space. It's not a big yard. I'm talking like the total property is probably like 1/8 of an acre, and the house takes up like 90% of it. The pool takes up 10% of it. I've got like barely any room, but we're making it work.
But that's the best thing about permaculture. A lot of people, Derek always gives you a hard time saying you got 300 acres, but it's not about all of those acres. It's about utilizing what space you have available. So I love it, man.
It is. And I'll tell you what, people don't realize that they can grow a lot of food on a relatively small space. You don't have to have acres to grow food, especially if you live up north, because they can grow a ton of food. Like my mom and her friends, they grow food and they're not gardeners. They just literally put seeds in the ground in Canada and they come back and harvest like 1 million cucumbers, right?
I love it. Yeah. Especially out there in those zones, out in Canada, out in northern zones. Yeah, there's so much opportunity,
Yeah. Ma says soursop goes well with vodka.
I have not tried that, but I want to.
You know what? It's funny. I have given up drinking. And, and I feel weird when I say that because people think that if you gave up drinking, you had an alcohol problem or something like that, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying like I would normally drink maybe once a month or once every other month, right? And maybe I'd have 2 drinks or 3 drinks at an occasion or something like that. So there definitely wasn't like a habit. But then I realized, like today, I posted a video about longevity spinach. Mm-hmm. And someone in the comments said, well, why don't you cover it up and grow it in a greenhouse? Because all the pesticides and chemicals in the air are going on it. And I'm thinking, people are so sort of sensitive to the thought of a trace of pesticide being on their food. They are ultra sensitive. They buy products to wash it even harder than water washes it, and so on. And yet, alcohol is a known carcinogen, and they literally drink it right from the source. Literally, they're worried about a trace of a possible carcinogen, but yet they drink a literal carcinogen all the time. And not that I'm anti-alcohol. I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna have a drink again ever. If it's an occasion or it's some sort of special drink, then I think I would probably try it. But
yeah, see, I think the thing is, and this is something I always kind of profess, is that people need to realize moderation is a good thing. We don't have to go all or nothing. And I think you know, the way we've been programmed nowadays, we have to be polarized on every single subject. So yeah, just like you're saying, like, oh, you know, the trace, you know, herbicidal drift that's in the air. Like, I mean, honestly, if that's the case, you know, you're really throwing the baby out with the bathwater in that situation. You know what I mean?
You stop breathing. Like, you better stop breathing. Like, right?
Stop breathing. Exactly. Exactly.
No, it's crazy to me, and I feel like with 2 times and especially in the gardening, because I find out I run into a lot of people where they think that if something isn't perfect, then it's terrible, right? Like, you know, like the whole like farm raised versus a wild caught salmon. Like people think like, you know, well, one is better than the other, so the other one is terrible, right? Like, you know, when in reality, even if something is better than the other thing, that doesn't mean the other thing is bad.
Yeah, yeah. So, for instance, I love salmon. You know, I'm a pescatarian. So, my wife and I, we like a lot of salmon. And you know, what is the word I'm looking for? Not economically, but sustainably be able to eat salmon. Salmon's not always in season. You would end up just killing out that population if you only ate all of the wild salmon. You know, you're messing with their spawning season, right? But if you're eating farm raised salmon, that's better for the species. So, you know what I mean?
And they've actually done studies on it. And in some cases, farm-raised salmon have less heavy metals. And because they're not going inshore and like going in rivers and stuff like that, they're way off in pens on the middle of the ocean. Like it's sad. But, you know, once people get something in their head, it's so hard to get it out of people's head. You know, someone asked if I harvest stuff in Mexico, like the stuff I harvest in Mexico, I only eat there. Like we harvested some plantains there, and I've harvested a couple soursop, but the trees are young, so there's not really a significant harvest at this point. But that's the goal. The goal is to be able to get fresh fruits right out of the backyard. I can't wait to get coconuts, because that's something that's very difficult to grow here. However, my soursop tree here flowered for the first time.
Oh, dude, congratulations. That's what's up, man.
I am so excited because I have never seen a soursop flower this far north. I've seen it in Kissimmee, which is only like 20 minutes south of me. But this is the furthest north I've seen a soursop in the ground flower. So we'll see if we get any fruit. We'll see.
That's good. That's good. You know, it's an investment, though. You know, and we got our friend here from Melbourne, Australia. You know, I love it. The fact that they're here every single week. I love it. Love that dedication. But yeah, it's an investment. You know, that's what gardening, permaculture, it's all about. It's investment in your future. You know, we can't hit that easy button. We gotta, you know, spend that time to cultivate that land, cultivate that soil, and get what we need. You know what I mean?
Now, Giovanni said something here. I'm sorry, I don't want to derail us here. Okay, yeah. But it's hard for me to let things just go. Right? He said farm salmon are ordered by flesh color, and I think what he's referring to is the anthocyanin, or it's the pigment that makes the salmon flesh red. Now, I grew up in Canada, or it makes it pink. I grew up in Canada, and the salmon that come in from Lake Ontario and run into rivers, they're not pink. The meat is regular fish color, blah, right? But in the salmon that are like in the Atlantic and such, they eat shrimp that have anthocyanin in them. That's what makes them pink. So when they're in the pens and they feed the salmon, they add anthocyanin. I might be saying that wrong. Anthocyanin, whatever it is. They add that to the feed because that's what they naturally would eat. And that's what makes them pink. So it's not like they're dyeing the salmon. They're just giving them the food that they would normally eat, which normally makes the flesh pink.
Right. So it's like me living in zone 8B and growing pineapples, right? Pineapples don't normally grow in my zone, but I'm going to, in my greenhouse, create those same conditions they would have in the tropics so that they can grow here. So it's the same principle, right?
And they're not bad pineapples because they're not growing where they're supposed to grow, right? They're still good pineapples. Yeah. Now, we had another question. What's the best pesticide, someone asked? That's an interesting question.
Best pesticide. I'm going to lean, when it comes to pesticide, I'm going to lean on companion planting first. You know, it's all about, you know, when we come to gardening, it's all about trying to create that whole ecosystem, right? And if you have enough of your pesticide, now, again, I always say this: companion planting isn't an end all be all. It won't mean you won't have all of your pests gone, in a snap, right? But by establishing those crops that can, one, provide, food for your pollinators, but then also, drive off of a lot of your pests. That's what I go with first. And that's why I'm gonna say it's gonna be the best for me. I mean, because it's gonna vary. You're gonna have Japanese beetles, you're gonna have scale, you're gonna have aphids, you're gonna have all those different individual things that you can address. But by companion planting, it's really the best broad spectrum approach when we're talking about our gardens.
Yeah, for pest control, preventing the pests from coming there in the first place is always your best bet, right?
Mhm.
And if you don't understand how companion planting works, it's basically like, let's say you have a field of all cabbage, right? If there's a cabbage moth, it senses cabbage, right? So, and if you got a whole field of cabbage, it knows where the cabbage is. But if you have a cabbage, and then you have an onion, and then you have garlic, and then you have rosemary, and then you have thyme, then you have a carrot, it's going to be very difficult for the insects to hone in on your cabbage and find it.
Definitely, definitely.
So,
yeah, I think that's the best approach. I mean, because I don't want to, because I know in the comments we have some people saying BT, we're having neem oil and stuff like that. Those, they don't work for everything. It's very specific on what those work for. So I'm with you, dude. Companion planting first, and then address situations individually.
now, when you have a specific problem, though, I'll tell you what. They also become trap crops. Yep, that's great. My thing is, my first line of defense is usually going to be something like neem oil, something very sort of basic and organic and natural. I'll probably start with neem oil, especially if it's something like aphids or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, aphid, neem oil or insecticidal soap, like you said, something organic, right. Something basic. And Yamadias over there said, they on YouTube said that they definitely incorporate a lot of companion planting too.
So I'd say like neem oil, insecticidal soap, and then I think like when those things aren't really getting it done, then for me the next thing is probably for like my soft-bodied insects, BT, which is Bacillus thuringiensis. I think that's what it is.
Good luck saying that. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to mess it up. I'm not going to do it.
Bacillus thuringiensis or something. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to it right there. And that's basically an actual bacteria that actually just infects the soft-bodied insects and kills them that way. So hold on. Now, if you have a specific problem, like for example, I had lychee mite on my lychee tree. And it's a new problem here, and none of those other things worked. I tried all those other things. So eventually I had to use a sulfur pesticide to actually I had to defoliate the whole tree, spray it down and let it regrow brand new. It actually worked. Everything's healthy now. But sometimes you get special pests that are, you can't get rid of the thing sometimes organically. So sometimes you have to do something a little bit more. And that's
in the comments. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What?
No, I said in the comments, somebody said, what about coffee grounds and wood ash? Coffee grounds, not really for a pesticide. It's not really going to do anything for you as far as pests go. And then wood ash, wood ash, again, not really as a pesticide. Wood ash can be used to supply potassium to your soil. But be careful with it, because wood ash is known to drop the pH of your soil. So
you mean raise it.
Raise it. That's right. Thank you. I always inverse those two. Yeah, you're raising your pH. You're going more alkaline. So like if you're doing fall crops and you're doing like collard greens or spinach or something like that, or your brassicas, of course, they'll be okay with the higher pHs. But if this is, spring planting and you're doing a lot of your annuals, you don't want to drop, you don't want to raise that pH up too much with that wood ash. So just be careful and maybe even test your soil after the fact.
Now we are not keeping everything in line here, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was how we keep our tools healthy and clean. Retain spray. Retain is a lubricant, a disinfectant. So a lot of times I do a lot of grafting, a lot of air layering, and this is great for keeping your tools clean. It's all natural, it's organic, it's got oregano oil, a lot of good things. You get on retainspray.com. You can also get on Amazon, on Walmart.com. And this stuff is amazing. It smells good, keeps your tools clean, and it lubricates them as well. So when you're grafting or you don't want to carry disease from one tree to another, retain spray. Check it out.
And one of the most active ingredients in it, and I love this, is oregano oil. Right now, I'm nursing a cold, and my wife keeps giving me these shots of oregano oil, which tastes horrible, mind you, but she keeps giving me these shots of oregano oil, and every time she gives me a shot, I'm like, I just need to drink some retain spray.
Yeah,
no, don't recommend drinking. I don't do it. No. But yeah, it's 100% organic, and yeah, or oregano oil. So it's great for your tools.
So there was another question here. Someone asked, what's the easiest tree to grow and maintain? I think that's kind of zone dependent. In your zone, what do you think is the easiest tree for you to grow and maintain?
I'm going to say mulberry. Mulberry, hands down mulberry, because it's really one of those set it and forget it kind of trees. Once you get it out there, it's drought tolerant. And yeah, it can adapt to the soil conditions. But yeah, once you get it out there, get it established, you're good to go, you know? So yeah, mulberry is going to be my pick.
Mulberry is pretty much a weed, you know, like
basically.
It's just a big woody weed. Yeah, mulberry's pretty good. For me, I'm trying to think my least cared tree would probably be, I think, my tamarind tree.
Ooh,
my tamarind tree, like literally I have to do nothing to that. That and sapodilla, I think, are very, and they never get any sort of rust or fungal infections or any sort of disease. Like mangoes, from time to time, they'll get the city mold and things like that. But those trees, I don't do anything to it. They never have any problems. So I'd probably.
Right. Yeah. Now, with that being said, just to recap for new folks that are here, Andre is from Orlando and I am in Dallas. So that's our different zones that we're talking about. Now, I will say one caveat when it comes to the mulberry. Be careful where you grow it, because with mulberry being almost like a weed, it can tear up some infrastructure, those root systems. So, you know, I just recently on YouTube dropped a video of me planting one of my mulberry trees, and I did it smack dab in the middle of my yard. So it's away from my foundation and away from the street and my driveway, because it'll tear some stuff up.
Now you got me thinking. Well, all my stuff is away from the house anyway. I'm not too worried. Let's see. Someone asked a companion plant for peppers. They asked specifically for Scotch bonnet. I think they're getting a lot of white flies, and I've had that happen before too with white flies on the peppers sometimes.
For me, with any of my peppers. Now I haven't done Scotch bonnets, but I have habaneros and I have a lot of sweet peppers. My go-to is going to be basil, like a purple Petra basil or a cinnamon basil. I mean, whenever I'm doing the trifecta, right, this is what I call them. I'm going to do tomatoes, peppers, and then basil's going to be right there. That's how I always plant them, always as a trio. And I haven't had any problems out of my peppers.
That's an interesting trio. I like it. So like if you had a pepper in a pot, you'd put a basil in with it in a pot?
Yeah, just make sure to maybe go up a little bit bigger in your pot size. So for instance, if you're sitting maybe on a 3-gallon, maybe go up to maybe a 5-gallon. Because that basil, that root structure, that basil can get it's very fibrous root stock. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and you should be fine.
That's interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. I have some peppers in pots at my office outside. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to up pot them and bring them in for the winter. And I think I'm going to actually put some basil in there with them. Thank you very much.
You got it. And if I had my purple Petra, there we go. Look, I got my purple Petra seeds here. Look at that. Purple Petra.
That's a pepper too.
Well, it's not. This is a purple Petra is a basil. It's a basil, and it smells like hints of like licorice and clove when you're walking past your garden. So it smells real good. Tastes good too.
So Just Jenny asked, "What about fungus on a tree, on a fruit tree? It killed one and didn't take long either."
Wow. Yeah. So. You can go, well, it depends on how soon you catch it. If you have a fungus outbreak, and if it's like, let's say it's something like a powdery white mildew, just starts off real light. I mean, you can make a fungicide, a mild fungicide right there at home by using like 1 teaspoon of baking soda mixed with some warm water, maybe just like a drop or 2 of Dawn dish soap. And that'll make a nice, easy fungicide that you can spray right onto the leaves. But if it's full blown outbreak, you might have to go with something that's copper based, like a copper fungicide or something like that, to really if it's really taking over, the mild stuff won't work. Yeah,
and it's weird because I'd love to know what kind of tree that is, because I feel like trees rarely succumb just to a fungal infection. Like I feel like fungal infections on most of my trees are usually a nuisance more than sort of like a tree ender. And I feel like maybe the fungal infections might be opportunistic and the tree might have been on its way out. And the fungus just sort of said, hey, I'm going to come along for this ride.
Well, it depends on the area too, because there's a member of our community. I can't remember her name at the moment, but she's in North Carolina, and she had some peach trees that were getting hit with a pretty intense fungal outbreak last season. And I want to say that it was from the other trees that were in her area. It was spreading the fungus to her trees. I can't remember what fungus it was, but we had a conversation about a year ago.
I would say with peach trees, I agree with you on that because peach trees kind of tend to have that sort of like, I don't know, like they get the holes in them and then the sap starts coming out and then they,
Yeah. So again, in those situations, I would go with something that's copper based. I mean, now a lot of people will say, no chemicals. But I mean, and realistically, if you're buying peaches at the grocery store, those same peach trees have been hit with those same kind of copper-based fungicides because they're so
copper is natural. It is a naturally occurring element. It is all natural. No one made copper. I use wood ash for pear and cherry slug.
I can understand it. Textural. Yeah, texture-based. I could see that working for like your slugs and so forth. That makes sense. Your mollusks. Yeah.
Because also on Amazon now. Retain is also on Amazon. Just so you guys know. Just so you know. Let's see.
Nice. No problem, Just Jenny.
Yes, don't drink Retain, she said.
No.
All right, someone said we need to boycott Walmart and Amazon. I tell you what, I am in your corner. I kind of feel that way too. For the most part. I am a light boycotter. I am not I feel like pretty much everything I do, I don't feel like I go in like 2 feet. I'm always like, 1.5 feet into everything. So yeah, about 1.5 feet into that whole world too. For me, the mangoes in Tampa. Yeah, mangoes are pretty self-sufficient trees. I found occasionally that they do get some sooty mold. But other than that, they're pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah. And now sooty mold is one that you could probably hit with a mild fungicide and be okay with too.
Yeah.
Like that recipe I gave you earlier.
And a lot of times the trees will grow out of sooty mold too. Like most of my trees, I just ignore it when it happens and they just kind of grow out of it.
Uh-oh, you got a sauce fan there. Speaking of the sauce, you know what? Jacques Bayless says, I buy your hot sauce off of Amazon. It is not a hot sauce. Andre, what is it?
It is a pepper sauce. Now, the difference between a pepper sauce and a hot sauce is a hot sauce is just vinegar, cayenne pepper and salt. This got 8 different fruits and vegetables. And right now, we have buy 2, get 2 free on the website at andrethefarmer.com. You can also get it on Amazon, but Amazon is not buy 2, get 2 free. But on the website, andrethefarmer.com, it's buy 2, get 2 free. I guarantee you're going to love it. It's absolutely delicious.
You know what? And we got the holiday season come up. It makes a great stocking stuffer for the family. So take advantage of that buy 2, get 2 free. That's a great deal. Stock up for the family.
We've never done that before. We've done buy 1, get 1 free or buy 2, get 1 free. We've never done buy 2, get 2 free. So, yeah. You know what? Speaking of mulberry trees, I'm a little embarrassed to say, but I have a mulberry tree that is almost dead. And it was my first mulberry tree ever. It is a ever-bearing mulberry tree. And it's funny because I feel like I was in Florida for a good 10, 15 years before I even knew mulberry trees could grow down here. Because I grew up with mulberry trees in Canada. And I always thought that was a northern tree. And I never saw one down here until now I realize there's like 50 different varieties of mulberries you can get down here. So now I've got the Pakistani mulberry, the Shangri-La mulberry, and my everbearing mulberry. My everbearing mulberry, it's always seemed to have struggled, and it doesn't get a lot of sun. It's also acting as a trellis for a dragon fruit, so it's leaning to the side. It's on its way out. It's on its way out, but I find that it really produces very small mulberries anyway. So I'm kind of okay.
Well, it's funny because speaking of mulberries and speaking of the Shangri-La, right? So, I'm jealous of you having that Shangri-La because I really want to try it. But I was when I was out in Maine, and I was talking with Jacques Jacques from Epic Gardening, Jacques from Jacques in the Garden, and we were talking about mulberries. He has a Shangri-La, and he said he can't stand it. It's too sweet.
Too
He said
sweet.
it's just, yeah, he said it's just too much sugar. It's like, it's like you're just biting into sugar. He was like, I can't think. He was like, the birds love it though. But yeah, he said doesn't care for it. I'm like, wow, I've never tasted, so I have no opinion of it. But you say you love it though, right?
Yeah. There's not a lot of fruits that I think are too sweet, but yeah, and then they're big too. They're big like a Pakistani. They're really good. They're really good. I like them.
Nice.
Let me see. I'm trying to get the next question here.
Or do you want to go to the deal?
The deal.
Yeah, the prompt.
What?
You remember the prompt that I wanted to do today?
Oh.
Yeah.
So great. What's the deal?
Oh.
I already forgotten the whole thing. I'm like the worst. I forgot.
No worries.
Thing.
All right, so gang, I wanted to do something fun with you today because we like being interactive with you. We love the engagement we get back and forth. And so I came up with a scenario for you. So I'm gonna read this scenario, and I want Andre's answer, but I want you guys to answer in the comments as well. Okay? This is gonna be fun. I used to do this kind of thing with my students all the time. Okay.
Am I gonna get embarrassed? Am I gonna get embarrassed right about now?
No. You good. You got this. All right. So because we're right around the corner from Halloween, right? Like Halloween's right down the street. I decided to go something Halloween themed, and we're gonna go with Harvest of the Dead. Okay. So I'm gonna set up the scenario for you. I'm gonna get my reading voice on. Harvest of the Dead.
Of the Dead. Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. This is a zombie scenario, so make sure you pay attention, guys. Here we go. For weeks, it was just the roar of the engines and the constant gnawing fear. The world had ended, not with a bang, but with a groan. We were mobile, a caravan of 12 souls, always watching the rear view for the next horde. The fuel was starting to run low, and so were we. But then we found it. Tucked away in the pines of North rural Louisiana, a sanctuary, a 1-acre farm hidden by trees and protected by 12-foot walls of solid concrete. We drove our vehicles inside, the engines falling silent for the first time in what felt like a lifetime. We have a well with fresh water, clean water. We have a roof over our head, and we have land, fertile black soil waiting. We scouted the perimeter, and we saw some white-tailed dove. We found some white-tailed deer moving through the tree lines, a promise of future meat, of hides, of sustenance. And in the barn, we found our future, not in a gun or in a can of fuel, but in a dusty wooden box, a cache of seeds. A chance to stop running and start building, to turn this fortified outpost into a home. But we can't plan it all, not at first. We have to be strategic. We have to think about survival, about calories, about nutrition, and about the long, hard winter that we know is coming. So the question I put to you today, what are the 3 seeds that we commit to the soil? What are the 3 crops that will give our community of 12 the best possible chance to not only survive, but to thrive? So on this 1-acre farm, that's your setup there, okay? You got a 1-acre farm that you've come across. It's fortified, so you don't have to worry about the zombies coming. You have white-tailed deer out there, and I put that in there specifically for you, my friend, from a carnivore that like to have some meat. But you have 3 crops that you can grow in this box. What is in this cache of seeds? What are the 3 seeds that you are going to use to survive and have your community thrive? And this is for everyone. I want Andre to answer first, but everybody, think about your answers.
I've got 2 that I know I would grow.
You got 2. Okay. Because we have to think about calories. We have to think about, nutrition. And we're in Louisiana, so we got this black fertile soil. So we don't have to worry about adding any additives to it. This soil is ready to go. But what 3 seeds is in your box? What's going to allow you to thrive? And then give me your why too. You got to give a why. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this." No, you got to say why.
Hey, we were putting answers in the comment. All right, but I'm going to tell you, my first thought was squash, right? Just because you can keep it, it can last you all through the whole winter. It stores very well, calorie dense squash. Second one is going to be sweet potato. All right, sweet potato because you can eat the leaves, and you can get sweet potatoes as well.
Yeah.
And it's self-seeding, basically. There'll be more coming back next year. And the third one is going to be beans, because beans are quick and easy. You got to turn over real fast, and beans are just a great fruit to eat. So I think those are the 3 that I would grow, and I would definitely be eating a lot of venison. I think those are
a lot of venison. And I like your answers. That's good because you thought about it. You thought about the fact of being able to reseed and replenish your stocks because, you know, we said northern rural Louisiana. So that zone is closer to mine. It's going to be 8B. So a winter is coming. So that's good. You can get some crops and harvest and get some seeds and keep the cycle going. I like it.
Yeah. And I also feel like, you know, like those are bulk foods that you can get you a lot of calories, and you can also get a decent amount of protein from the beans. So even if you don't have a whole lot of luck with animals, I think that that's pretty good. Let's see what some of the comments. Let's see what some of the people said here.
Well, I want to take one. Let me grab one from YouTube real quick, and then you grab the next one because Compost Hog says, wondering about what vegetables might you recommend for growing protein. Now, it's not on topic, but I'm gonna make it be on topic. They say that they are living in Dallas. So I'm going to say the first one you mentioned, beans, that's a great one for protein. It's a great source of protein. Being a pescatarian, I eat a lot of beans in this house. It is that magical fruit that makes you toot, you know. But we eat a lot of beans over here. So that's a great one for protein. So, yeah. All right, you go for the next one.
Okay. Now, Kiki said corn, potatoes, and sugarcane. You know, I don't know how much value sugarcane is going to have, you know, other than sort of like a candy snack sort of thing. Like, I'm not sure that's helping you survive necessarily.
But no. I'm going to help them out because I think I know where they're going with this. Because sugarcane, yes, you can get the sugar, but you can also use that sugar for fermentation purposes and make alcohol. And I'm not talking about for consumption. I'm talking about for medical purposes, right? So if you need some alcohol to clean up wounds and stuff. So I could see sugarcane.
Okay.
I could see it.
All right. If you're going to make some, if you're going to be a moon, what's it? Make some moonshine.
Make some shine.
Someone said potatoes, peppers, and cabbage.
Potatoes, peppers, and cabbage. Okay. Yeah. Cabbage, you're going to get a lot of vitamin A, vitamin E out of it. Yeah, so that's good. And cabbage, you know, sticks to the belly too. That's a good belly filler. Okay.
I'm just not sure the yield. I guess you probably do a lot of cabbage. How storable is cabbage? I guess you could maybe ferment it or something like that.
Yeah, like if you ferment it going back to the sugar cane, right? A sugar cane. Yeah, because I mean, you got to think about it. This is like a post-apocalypse kind of. Think of what is the show that everybody watch? Walking Dead, right? You're not gonna be able to freeze it or anything, right? What's up, Corey? Yeah, no, that's good. All right.
Greens, potatoes, and oranges. I don't know if oranges are gonna work out because if you have a seed of an orange, you're like 10 years away from an orange, and they're probably gonna be not the best oranges in the world.
And then plus the zone, it won't sustain the winters. You know, if this is just your regular run-of-the-mill Mandarin orange or something like that, it's not going to withstand those winters. Yeah. But I like you guys are thinking.
I think everyone says potatoes. Like I was thinking potatoes at first, but then I thought sweet potatoes because of the leafy greens that you can eat as well. That's why I kind of wanted the sweet potatoes.
Yeah, because I like the idea of potatoes. I mean, it is a good starch, and starches are good for you. But with that being said, let me give you my 3, because my 3 is actually not that far from yours. Okay, so I say I'm gonna go with corn. Okay, all right, and you're gonna understand where I'm going with this. Then of course beans. We're talking about our kidney beans, more kidney beans than pinto beans. I'm saying I'm gonna go probably kidney bean. And then after that, squash, because I'm doing the three sisters. Three sisters. But let's go back to that corn though, because think about it with that corn. You have so many uses out of that corn. I know a lot of people say that well, corn doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, but there's so many things you can make with that corn. You can make your corn meals. You can make breads. You can grind all that stuff down. There's a vast opportunity to make some corn tortillas or something like that. So, I mean, you have opportunity to use that corn for a lot of things. And with the bean, of course, like we said, for our protein, plus that's our nitrogen fixer. And then again, or our squash, that's going to be our warm meal filling our belly. And then we got a cornucopia of seeds that we can harvest.
I'll tell you what, I kind of like the corn. I'm torn between the corn and the sweet potato right now. I'm kind of torn, but I like it. I think it's a good choice. Most people made a really good choice. Someone here said garlic for medicinal, legumes for fiber and protein, and potatoes. That's not bad. I don't love the garlic. I feel like garlic is a bit of a luxury item. I feel like I only got 3 foods. I don't know if I'm gonna make one of them garlic. Right.
Yeah, because I mean, if that's supposed to sustain your whole colony, like, all we got is this garlic to eat. You know, the squash and the corn isn't ready yet, so we eating this garlic. I don't know about that.
Yeah, and the thing about the sugar cane too is it may not survive the climate. And if you're planting it from seed, you're a couple years away from getting any sugar at all.
That's true. Very true. Very true. I didn't factor that in. That's a very good point. But, talking about the time of year and everything, going back to the question we had over here on YouTube, another good protein source to consider is maybe your spinaches too, because your spinaches would do well in that northern Louisiana fertile soil. With the cold temperatures coming in, it would do okay, and it's a great source of protein. So yeah, spinach is a good one as well.
What's PCOS? PCO. Is that supposed to be?
I'm not sure.
Said I have PCOS, so it's to keep me from going into diabetic coma. Okay, she needs a sugar. Okay, I get it.
Gotcha.
I get it. Makes sense.
Okay, yeah. You're taking consideration some of your health concerns. No, we understand that. That makes sense. But the fact that you thought that out, yeah, nice.
Okay, also pumpkin, you can eat the leaves as well. Apparently, I didn't know you could eat the pumpkin leaves.
True. Yeah.
I didn't eat the flowers.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of pumpkin. I know this is. With Halloween right around the corner, it's sacrilegious to say it, but I am not a big pumpkin guy. We'll carve some up and stuff like that, but I am not a fan of pumpkin pie. Give me sweet potato pie all day long.
I'll tell you what, though. When I was in Dominica, we had pumpkin soup. Unfreaking believable. I've never liked pumpkin. I've never even tried pumpkin soup because it looks gross. But I had it in Dominica. 3 different places, I can't remember, and it was amazing every single time. Yeah. Also, potato greens. I think they mean sweet potato greens. I hope they don't mean regular potato greens.
Right. All right. And our friend on YouTube, Lamadea, says Three Sister Gardens is not just nutrition packed; they also store well and work well together and save space. Yeah, that's why Three Sisters work so well. You're absolutely right. Because if we got this zombie apocalypse scenario going on outside, you don't have to worry about trying to figure out where you're going to be storing all this stuff. You can keep your community, kind of together.
And it does make a lot of sense. I'm moving more towards the Three Sisters and away from my sweet potatoes. I think the Three Sisters might be the way to go for this because of the versatility of corn. I think. Dandelion wheat is medicinal as well. Yeah. I've come to realize from gardening that pretty much every single plant is medicinal for something. Like I can't think of a single fruit tree that has a leaf that's not medicinal for something.
Yeah. And one of these days when I find that magical thing called time, I think I might actually start taking some class on herbalism to know more about those different herbs and such and which things are medicinal. Because a lot of people ask me about that stuff, but I'm like, hey, I'm a gardener. I can tell you how to grow some stuff, but I don't know nutritionally what's good for you. But you know, it's starting to pique the interest and starting to make those wheels turn. Maybe that's another notch in the belt I need to add, because you're right, dandelion weed. There's so many different variations out there of something right there in the ground that's available for you.
Now, I am mildly interested, but I feel like too often people get, it's kind of one of those situations where a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like a lot of times people get into the danger zone with a lot of these herbal things and remedies as well. So I'm always a little skeptical.
Yeah. And see, and that's why if I did it, I would want to go through like a legitimate source of information, you know, go to a school or something like that, someone who would teach me that what's real and what's not. Because, you know, unfortunately, on these internet spaces, you have a lot of self-proclaimed gurus that are just influencers and just making this stuff up as they go. So, you know, and you're dealing with people's health here. That's why I always lead with, I'm not a nutritionist. Seek your medical professional.
Pauline says, what seed and to sow, I guess, now in Orlando? I just recently planted carrots, beans. You could plant a lot of your greens right now. Pretty much all of your brassicas, your cabbage, your broccoli, your cauliflower, all of those things you can start planting right now. Even tomatoes you can plant this time of year here in Florida.
You can still do tomatoes now, huh?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, like it might be at the point now where you probably want to get starts, just so you can have your tomatoes producing before it gets too cold. But we're still probably a good, it doesn't really get cold here till December.
So with that being said, since it doesn't really get cold. So do your mosquitoes ever actually die off?
They kind of do. They take they get less. They don't die off all the way. Like, you get one warm day and you're like, where the hell did mosquitoes come from? It was like, it was freezing yesterday. How are these mosquitoes still alive? But yeah, they can survive pretty well. Yeah.
So with that being said, that means you're still gonna need some Sonia's bug spray out there in the garden if you're out there.
That is so good. You are a true professional, sir. Sonia's bug spray. That was in reverse here. I think it's in reverse. But.
Yeah, our screens are reversed. But Sonia's bug spray, Sonia's mosquito spray. I live by it out here in Dallas. I love it. It feels fantastic on your skin. It smells amazing. And it goes on basically just like butter. You're not going to feel all chalky and everything or oily from, some of the other things. And it's all organic. Sonia's bug spray. Andre, where can we find Sonia's bug spray?
Sonia'sBugSpray.com. Sonia'sBugSpray.com. You also get on the TikTok shop as well. I'll tell you what.
Sonia's a good friend of ours.
It's the only thing I use. Amazing stuff. And like I said, it doesn't feel like bug spray at all.
And you know what? If it's a zombie apocalypse, if the zombie apocalypse is brought on by mosquitoes, guess what? You're good to go. Now, of course, you guys know that I don't really believe in zombies, right? We know the zombies cannot be real. Animated flesh cannot come back. But it was just a fun scenario. So I just want to say that. I want people to think
I like it. I think it's a good scenario. I had a question for all the people out there. Like, one of the things that we like doing on this podcast is debunking gardening myths. So I was wondering, what do you guys think is the gardening myth that maybe you believe in still, or you have doubts about, or that you learned was a myth?
You're trying to start some fights out here.
I'll go first. Mine was banana water. Because I've seen it somewhere that, you soak a banana peel in water 24 hours, you put in your plants, but it does not provide a really bioavailable source of nutrients or a significant source of nutrients for your plants. So you pretty much just watering them with water at that point in time. You're not really getting anything out of it. So I learned that. And, when you learn new information, you got to change your positions.
Yeah, that's it. And, that's the thing. Sometimes in life, I think as a part of the human condition, we get so ingratiated and so ingrained, that's the word I'm looking for here, in our ideals, and we don't want to change our mind. But that's a sign of higher intelligence that, hey, you know what? I found out new information. I was wrong about something. Let me redirect. Let me change my mind on it. So thank you. Thank you. But yes, no, banana water.
Oh, someone said that cayenne pepper deters rabbits. I think it can have an effect. Anything that uses its sense of smell, I think it can deter it, but it doesn't last very long. That's the only thing.
No, you would have to go with something that's more like a pepper flake, something that would stay around for a while. But after a nice rain or after a good wind blow, it's gone. I'm gonna tell you what it didn't work on. It didn't work on the raccoon and the cats that's been visiting my garden every night. They was just like, you seasoned these greens up real good for us. Appreciate you.
All right, here's one. Is rainwater a thing?
Oh yeah, totally. Rainwater's a thing. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what. I recently heard that rainwater has more nitrogen, like in it. I guess not in its actual, it's still H2O, but there's nitrogen trapped, I guess, from the atmosphere when rain falls, and it also kind of almost fertilizes your plants from the rainwater.
Yeah. And then another great thing about it is that rainwater. Now, of course, this depends on your area, because I had a lot of folks debate me on it. It depends on your area and what you're around. But for the most part, rainwater is going to be naturally a little bit more acidic than your tap water. Your tap water has calcium deposits and things like that in it. So it's going to be more alkaline. And most of the things that we're going to grow is going to actually prefer something slightly acidic. So it's actually good for your crops too. I harvest a lot of rainwater out here.
Lamadeus made a great point. When we're talking about medicinal plants, like just because something comes from a plant does not mean that it's not a chemical. It does not mean that it doesn't have side effects. It does not mean that it doesn't have drug interactions. So be careful if you're on other medications and such when you start taking plant-based, remedies or herbal medicines or herbal remedies, because these things still are chemicals. The only way that anything interacts with your body in any way at all is by chemical reaction, right? So the same way you get a drug from a pharmaceutical, you get it from a plant. The plant has that drug in it. That's why it's doing the thing that it's doing. It's not working because of magic. It's working because it has a chemical that's having a reaction with a chemical in your body to cause a certain reaction.
Exactly. Specific proteins and so forth, right? Because like I remember there's a good friend of ours. I ain't gonna say her name because I don't want to throw her under the bus. But she had a question about growing peanuts, right? And she was like, well, I'm allergic to peanuts, but if I'm growing my own peanuts, can I, will it get rid of the allergy? And I was like, well, no, because it's the specific proteins inside of the peanuts is what you're allergic to. But remember, again, gardener, not a medical professional. Talk to your allergist and check with them first, before you go forward with these peanuts.
And I think with the rainwater too, I suspect that nitrogen boost is fresh rainwater. I think that the nitrogen probably dissipates off rainwater once it's stored for a period of time. But it's still water. It's perfectly clean water, which is great for watering your plants regardless.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe it goes, and this would be something I would have to look into more, but I think it's going to be something that depends on the amount of ionization that goes on, like specifically during like thunderstorms and so forth. But that's not going to be something that's always going to be present there. But yeah, rainwater is still a great source, especially once it's clean and everything and been filtered out and so forth. Now, I don't recommend drinking it because you don't know what other aggregates or so forth are in there. For instance, if like for my system, my rainwater system comes off of my roof. My roof is a regular tile roof that has aggregate on there, and some of that can get down in the water. So, it's not potable, but it's definitely good enough for the plants.
Yeah. How do you deter groundhogs and feral cats out of your garden? I'm trying to attract feral cats right now because I want some squirrel patrol going on in there because they are tearing up all of my squash. Like as soon as it gets golf ball size, they are tearing it up. If I had some cats back there, I think that would be some protection. I might put out some cat bowls or something like that. I don't know. Try to get some back there.
Now, see, I had this advice given to me from someone on Facebook. Since I have the one orange tabby that comes visit, and then, that raccoon. It's so funny because it's like a Disney movie, man. Like you do not expect that companionship from those two animals, but they're out there eating hip to hip together. But what they recommended was motion sensor sprinklers. So it's a solar powered sprinkler
Uh,
that once something comes in the garden, you know, it targets them like a heat seeking missile and bam, 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 hits them with the water. I'm like,
that's
you know
pretty
what?
good.
Running that for about a week straight, they'll get the idea and move on.
I might have to try that. You're still planting squash. Actually, no, I didn't plant this squash. The squash was a volunteer, and it came up and it started producing all these little squash. But they get this big, and then they're gone. Squirrel eats them. It's
Oh, and you
frustrating.
know what? The follow up to that question, because they had a question about groundhogs too. When it comes to, do you deal with any groundhogs out there in Florida?
No, no. Like we kind of have them, but they've never been an issue at all. I've never seen one. I've seen tracks of them, but I've never seen one. I've never had one come into my beds or take anything.
All right. Now, see, I've never had to deal with it out here in Dallas as well, but I've helped a lot of people who have dealt with it. So, with that being said, the advice that I recommend would be, it's funny, you got to have that hindsight. Hindsight is 2020, right?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
So you would have to actually put down what is it, hardware cloth before you would put your beds down, or some kind of mechanical contraption to stop them from being able to come into your garden. So if you put down like a hardware mesh down into the soil first, going about a good 2 to 3 feet down, so you can stop those groundhogs, voles, moles, all those different things that would come up through your soil. That would create a barrier that would keep them out. And then just like with chickens, like let's say you have a chicken coop, right? When you build a chicken coop, you also put that kind of metal down around the coop to stop any predators from crawling, you know, kind of scurrying in and digging up underneath it. I would do the same thing with my garden so that I'm about 2 or 3 feet out further than where say I have a 4x6, right? So if I have that 4x6 garden, I'm going to go maybe 3 feet further than that just so I can make sure that they can't dig anywhere around it. But again, you have to have that foresight, you know, that knowledge ahead of time that you're going to have this problem.
Yeah, that's the before. Once you're in the during, what do you do when you're in the during? Like you already got your bed set up, but now you got this problem.
Well, there are traps that you can actually dig down and put into the burrows. And I'm going to say, guys, it's not a pretty sight because it'll kill them. But there are traps that will actually catch them by the neck that you can actually dig down and put down in your soil. I don't know exactly how much those traps cost, but they do exist. So if it's really bad, I mean, you may want to look into the traps because honestly, there would be no amount of companion planting that you could really do to try to keep these guys out because they're coming from underneath.
Right, right. So Cheese C. Eden says, in Central Florida, I'm having a hard time with my eggplant. Stems are big, flowers abundant, but no eggplant. And I have some white bugs eating the leaves. Could be mealy bugs or?
Yeah, it might be mealy, or even like maybe a white fly or so forth. But yeah, so if you're flowering but you're not getting any eggplant, you might have, well, because eggplant is kind of like a tomato, it's self-fertile. So I'm gonna say one thing you might want to do is go out there and give it a nice little shake. Like
Next time you see
seriously, go
some
out there.
flowers on there. Yeah.
Yeah, give it a little shake to see if you can get that pollen to start hitting that ovum to start getting them to fertilize, just like you would do with a tomato. But yeah, as far as, you know, if we knew specifically what your pest is, yeah, I would definitely say it's airborne. So I don't know if insecticidal soap will work in that situation. What do you think?
I would start with insecticide soap.
Yeah,
I got my first go-to on that.
yeah. Start there and work your way up to seeing how it does. Monitor, of course.
Okay. It's also in a greenhouse.
Oh, in a greenhouse. Okay. Yeah, definitely start with some insecticidal soap for sure. If you're in a greenhouse, I mean, that's a contained situation, and see if you have any nests or anything in there. But yeah, I would start there first.
And a lot of times when I have an infestation of something on a plant, I will take off the leaves or branches that have the most of the infestation. Sometimes you can just manually take out a huge chunk of the population, and that helps as well. Like I was looking at a sugar apple tree in Mexico, and there was scale on one branch. It was a small branch, it was loaded with scale. I just cut the branch off, tossed it over the fence, tossed it over the wall. That was it.
Nice. And you know what? With that being said, seeing as how you're in a greenhouse, you may want to pull that eggplant out of the greenhouse, maybe take it to a garage or somewhere that it still be warm enough to support it, just to kind of isolate it so that potential insect spread doesn't spread to everything else inside the greenhouse as well, isolated until it's treated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
what is something that or advice you can give for people if they want their plants to thrive?
Well, you know, especially if this time of year you're trying to get your leafy green growth, I would recommend one of my favorite companies, and that's Thryve Roots. Thryve Roots is an Armory listed soil amendment and root booster, and it has been doing wonders for not only my fruits and vegetables, but also my ornamental plants as well. I use Thryve Roots because the beautiful thing about it, Thryve Roots gives you access to fertilizers that are already in your soil. So I know a lot of times we talk about different fertilizers and so forth. You know, I'm one of those, I don't like to fertilize too heavy because you can burn your plants that way. Thryve Roots is going to stimulate your soil so that you can use what's already there, give you that availability. And as you can see, this greenery behind me back here, they're all been given Thryve Roots.
I'll tell you what, I need to get some more Thrive because I'm out of it. I brought it to Mexico and I used it up. I need to get some more. So Gwen asked about yeast fertilizer. I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
No. I haven't used any yeast fertilizer as well. Gwen, go ahead and message us back. You say some people swear about it, huh? What do you know about yeast fertilizer? I'm gonna start looking some stuff up here for you too, okay? So go ahead and message us back and tell us more about this yeast fertilizer. I haven't really used it. Andre, what have you heard in the meantime?
Oh, hold on. Someone asked, where can they buy it? Where can they get Thrive?
Oh, Thryve Roots. Oh, it's wonderful. ThryveRoots.com. And they're actually also here on Instagram. They're known as Thryve Roots Squad. But yeah, you can go right to ThryveRoots.com, and that's Thrive with Thryve. Let me type it in the comments.
And I'm going to be ordering some because I need to bring some more back down to Mexico because it's done amazing for my plants down there. I was having a lot of problems. I think it was too much sun and the soil's so rocky there. And it's very nutrient, but it's very rocky. And I felt like the Thrive just allowed things to, I don't know, maybe absorb that nutrients better than they were doing before. So I am a big fan. I'm a believer.
And it smells fantastic too. Armory listed. So it's a step up from organic. It's actually Armory listed.
What does that mean?
So Armory, okay, so what is the full word for Armory? Organically, because this is talking about everything from organic. Hold on, because you put me on the spot. No worries. Sorry, nursing that cold.
We got 3 minutes left, so
3 minutes. I gotta hustle.
Get on that Google.
Google. Armory stands for Organic Material Review Institute. So what they do is they go and they review every single component of something that has been made. So, you know, you can go for organic, and organic can mean a lot of different things. But Armory is a full test where they test every single component of your formulation to see that it is all met with organic standards, from not just from the chemical itself, the chemicals that's being used, but also the practices as well. It's like the standard to achieve.
It's the gold standard of organic. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, one of the cool things I like is that all of our sponsors are all natural. You know, we've got the all natural Sonia's bug spray, the all natural Retain. We've got the all natural sweet and spicy pepper sauce, and we've got the all natural Thrive. So, you know, and we didn't specifically look for sponsors that were all natural. It just happened that way. I don't know if we're just very natural guys or something like that, but it kind of fell in our lap that way. But guys, that is pretty much the end of the show today, guys. Enjoy that like button, subscribe, share. The replay is going to be, the whole show will be on my YouTube page and on my Instagram page as well. I think it's gonna be on Gray's as well. So it'll be on all of our pages. Usually Derek is here as well, the chocolate botanist. He will be back here next week, but the show time going forward is Tuesdays at 7 p.m. A little bit earlier was before, and a different day. But thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Gray, what did I say?
Yeah. Also, as far as that yeast fertilizer, we will cover that topic next week. We will talk about it more. If you have ideas for things you want to talk to us about next week, You let us know in the comments, and we will definitely oblige you. Love hanging out with you guys as always.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a great week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
All righty. You there? You there? Can you hear me?
All right, we're still streaming live here on YouTube.
Okay.
We just need to end this live here. Yeah, we're still live here.
How do you end it?
The host. Let's see.
We need Derek to end it?
Yeah, we need Derek to end it. So you guys on YouTube are getting to hang out with us just a little bit longer.
You guys can see it because get the behind the scenes of what goes on after the show. Because after the show, I have the podcast here, and basically what I do is that I try to find a picture where both of us don't look crazy at the same time. That was pretty funny. What do you think about that?
That was a good one. I like it. Yeah, what do you guys think? You like that one?
All right, we're gonna do that one, and that was episode 26. We've been doing this